Hello everyone, this is Rose Gold, and today I'm going to be doing my first ever video on this channel, so please subscribe if you like it. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. So the question is, which punishment, either real or imagined, sounds light, in quotation marks, or not a big deal at first, but is actually horrific to experience? Here we have a comment from user Wadsworth McStumpy. Outlawry. To be declared an outlaw. Today we think of an outlaw as just anybody who breaks the law regularly. Back in the day, though, it was a punishment. If you were declared an outlaw, that meant you were literally outside of the law and could claim no protection from it. If someone didn't like you, they could physically beat you, rob you, torture you, or even kill you. When the stories refer to Robin Hood as an outlaw, that's what they're talking about. It's not a romantic heroic, swashbuckling thing. It's the state of having no claim to any legal protection at all. The king, or whoever he appoints, takes your land. Anybody who wants it can take your stuff, and anybody who doesn't like you can just beat you to death without any consequences. They can also put a bounty on your head, and have people hunting you to claim it. What do you think would happen if you lost all your protection from the law, and anybody who brought your head to the courthouse could claim a year's salary as a reward? Honestly, okay, this is just my opinion, but being declared an outlaw seems straight up horror to me, especially in those circumstances. So I have to agree with him. But now let's get straight onto the next one, but made by user Toe Jam and Toast. Being found not guilty by reason of insanity. No matter the length of a sentence you are given, it is up to doctors to determine when you can be released. A sentence of 10 years in a psychiatric facility could mean 20, 30, or life. The doctors will only release you when they determine it's safe for you to re-enter society and you are no longer a threat. What doctors is going to release someone and take the chance you'll re-offend? Almost none. You'll also be given medications that have terrible side effects. You'll put on a bunch of weight, feel sleepy all the time, dizzy, and eventually develop repetitive movements. You'll be in the general population with others people suffering from severe mental illness, which can drive you crazy itself. The upside is that it may be slightly cleaner than a regular prison. You have a little more space to move around the entire unit, even though it's going to be small, and even eventually you can earn day passes. Compared to regular prison, it may be a little better overall, but it's still a horrible way to spend your life. It's also incredibly difficult to have this defense apply to your case. So if someone does a crime and thinks they can just plead insanity and be out in 10 years, they are most likely not going to be found insane. Well, honestly, by how much anime I'm consuming, if I ever commit a crime, I'd get the insanity plea. Anyways, let's just move on to the next comment to the last comment made by user Niller Coke. Kneeling in sand. When I was 16, my mother told me if I kept my attitude up, I'd be kneeling in salt. Being a dumb kid, I was like, oh, whatever, it's just salt. Well, I kept that attitude up. My mom sprinkled a light dusting of salt on the tile floor in the kitchen, and I had to kneel in salt for half an hour. The grains cut my knees and burnt the wounds. I'm 32 now, and I still have scars on my knees. I will add this before I hit reply. I know this was abuse. My mom was pregnant at the time and not in a good place mentally. My sister is now 16 and has never had as much as a slap. Just recently, my sister told me she thinks I was just a bad kid if my mom did all that to me. I told my mother about the conversation after, and my mother said, "You weren't a bad kid. None of you were. I just had a temper and I didn't know how to control it." I'll admit, I'm an adult now with two kids of my own, and hearing her say that made me cry on the way home. I knew in my head that I wasn't a bad child. I rarely got into trouble, never did drugs, I just had an attitude. But I hadn't realized how heavy my heart was. I was the first of three kids. I got the worst of it. And I always blamed myself. Even when I realized I was finally over it, in quotation marks, and rebuilt a relationship with my mom, I blamed myself. I hadn't realized how much I needed to hear her say that until she did. This is 3 weeks ago, and I'm tearing up just as I'm typing this. Honestly, I feel really bad for them, but now let's move on to the actual last comment by user Sword Taster. I can't remember what country it was used in, Russia or Japan, I think. The one punishment was generally known as the white. You'd be given white clothes, locked in a cell with white walls, with no windows, and a completely white door. You'd get a light bulb on a white fixture, but no light shade. Your bed and its liners would also be white, and you would be fed exclusively on white rice in a white bowl with white cutlery, and to drink you would get water in a white cup. After a day or two, you begin to hallucinate because of the lack of visual stimulation. Now I'm going to end this off right here, so I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm sorry for any mistakes I made. I have a terrible accent. This is a new project of mine, so you can find my main channel in the description. But anyways, this is Rose Gold, and I am out. Peace.